Alright, it's Vex, and today we want to talk about Sheoldred. That's right, not this Sheoldred, the new one from Dominaria United. That's right, Sheoldred the Apocalypse. But we do have Sheoldred, the original Whispering one, in our deck. But this is the Sheoldred we want to make today. Let's read what the new Sheoldred does. She is amazing right here. Mono black commander, 2 black. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor, Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Life gain, sweet. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. 4/5, big hefty body, 4 mana value, super sweet commander. It has nothing really to do with this Sheoldred, which is like, sack creature, reanimate creature. But, we can swap them back and forth. This is our secondary commander. Doesn't have a lot of tokens, but, always have your tokens. And the deck list is in the description below. Check that out. All right, let's actually talk about what this Sheoldred, the Apocalypse, wants in her deck. She wants to do a lot of draining, right? You gain some life. You want to use the life for good stuff. And opponent loses life. And they do it by you drawing cards and them drawing cards. So this is actually a very interesting deck. It's all about card draw for you and your opponent. So you're just trying to be the nice guy or nice gal, making everybody draw cards, right? I've seen a lot of deck lists online, and they're trying to put Sheoldred into like a discard shell, or like a tiny bone shell. I don't think it's right, because you're not really caring about discarding. You care about making your opponents draw cards and then causing pain when they do draw those cards. So we're going to stick on theme. We have the deck here, and let's check it out. These are some of the creatures that make you and your opponents draw cards. The best one is Sizen, Perverter of Truth, right there. This one recently spiked, so hopefully it comes down by the time you want to make this deck. It's 3 black, legendary creature, demon spirit. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards. See, it's nice. We're just being nice people, right? Everybody gets to draw 2 additional cards, which is good for us, because 2 additional cards means we gain 4 life. With our draw stat, we gain 6 life, but minus 2 life, so a net gain of 4. However, if you have Sheoldred and Sizen, I'm not sure how I say it, out, we're dealing 8 damage per upkeep, per player's turn. I mean, they draw their 3 cards, they take 6, and they take additional 2 from Sizen. So it's 8 damage. It's really cool to do, and these work really great together, and helps end games quickly. But besides that, we have cool cards here. Urbos, God of the Dead. And this is really neat because it's got your opponents can't gain life. So if you're draining them really quickly and they can't gain life, they're going to die pretty quick. And it's got the 1 black, pay 2 life, draw a card. Incredible, because you pay 2 life, but you gain 2 life. So it's like 2 mana, draw a card. And it's also, it's got Devotion to Black and Indestructible, so it can become a creature and help you block things so you don't die too fast. Then we have another cool card here. I know I'm going a little out of order, but we get Elder Brain. I think this is an insanely cool card. Reminds me a little bit about like Teferi's Puzzle Box. But 5 black, 7 mana value, so pretty high mana value. That's Menace, was Creature Horror, 6/6. Whenever Elder Brain attacks a player, exile all cards from that player's hand. Wow, that's pretty neat. Then they draw that many cards. You may play lands and cast spells from among exiled cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. So essentially, you make them draw a fresh new hand, and that does damage. And then you can use those cards too. But the important part is you kind of just make them draw a fresh new hand. Then we have our Rankle here. So this is attack trigger. This is more a deal combat damage trigger. But you have, if you do a combo, you can choose any of these. Each player discards a card. Each player loses 1 life and draw a card. So that's the important part. It does drain and draw, and each player sacks a creature. So that's cool. So this is a little discard synergy, I guess, in there. And then we have these 2 guys. This is mainly for you to draw tons and tons of cards, because you 1 black and 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. It's got other stuff, 8 mana value, demon, flying, 8/8. It's huge. But once you play it, you got Cabal Coffers in this deck. You can definitely cast this. Pay 2 life and a black mana. Target creature gets -1/-1 to end turn. Whenever you lose life, draw many cards. But the cool part is you can, pay a black, 2 life, right? You lost 2 life. Then you draw 2 cards and you gain 4 life. So Phyllis and Sheoldred just nets you tons of life. As long as you have black mana, you can just machine gun down the whole board without worrying about losing all your life. You might worry about decking yourself if you machine gun too hard. Then there's just, this lowly blood gift demon. It even has the word gift in it because you're giving the gift of cards. Flying at the beginning of your upkeep. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. You could target yourself if you need some cards, or you could target the opponent if they're getting low on life and you want to deal damage. Either way, it's good for you, it's good for them. Well, it's just good for you, not good for them at all. We have spells that draw cards right here. Knight's Viscera is you draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. Sign in Blood is target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life, so you can make somebody lose up to 6 life with Sheoldred on the battlefield. Read the Bones, scry 2, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. These two are, you're drawing your cards yourself, but with Sheoldred, it kind of offsets the life loss. You do want some velocity going through your deck. We do have a lot of card draw because, that's what our commander wants to do. It's pretty cool. It's a black commander that just wants you to draw a lot of cards, and your opponents too, I guess. Damnable Pact, X black, target player draws X cards and loses X life. That's really sweet. That can be used as a finisher. They draw a bunch of cards. They never get to use it. You just finish them off. Excellent. Or if you need cards yourself, you could draw cards, gain some life with Sheoldred. That's also very good. Siphon Mind, I think it's one of my favorite cards. I'm starting to include a lot of black decks. This is discard theme here, but each other player discards a card. You draw cards for each card discarded this way. So, draw up to 3 cards. Players discard 3 cards. Extremely good. I kind of feel like this is underrated. Not a lot of people are playing it, but it is sometimes a 6-for-1. With Sheoldred, you gain 6 life on the way. So that's sweet. Dark Deal is kind of like a wheel effect here. I guess more discarding happens here, but it's more of a wheel effect. Each player discards all cards in their hands and draw that many cards. -1. So a little bit of a wheel. If somebody has like a Thought Vessel or Reliquary Tower has 20 cards. Bam, bam. That's like a 40 damage right there. Or I guess 38 because you -1. Stinging Study. This is a cool one too. This gives us card draw. It's too bad it doesn't say target player, but it's 4 and a black instant. You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the mana value of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. So essentially, Sheoldred, it's at instant speed. Remember that. It's 5, instant speed, draw 4, lose 4. Then Puritan Abyss, this is a finisher, or you do it against yourself, but basically a finisher. Target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library and loses half their life. Round up each time. So Puritan Abyss can just knock somebody out. Or just for funsies, you could draw half your deck because you just gain a bunch more life. So that's a sweet combo too. I just love the decisions that this deck wants you to make. Like, do you draw the card and gain the life, or do you make your opponents draw cards so you give them resources to beat you with, or make them lose life so now they're just like life totals are dwindling down quickly. It's a cool tension that Sheoldred puts you in. And I forgot to mention, Sheoldred is really good against Rhystic Study. They're going to be like, do you pay the 1? Somebody says, no, draw a card, take 2 damage. Draw a card, take 2 damage. And they'll eventually want to stop drawing from Rhystic Study because Sheoldred is just machine gunning them down with their Rhystic Study. So this is like a little bit anti-Rhystic Study technology. And also, before I go to the enchantments, we are in mono black. Unfortunately, mono black doesn't have very good answers to enchantments. So that's just, I do like that tension of being able to do monocolor things, having a very streamlined mana base, and there are weaknesses of the deck. So if you play against the Enchantress deck with a mono black deck, which I have, it kind of sucks, but that's how the cookie crumbles. All right, moving on, we have our enchantments that draw a card. One of the best enchantments that draw a card is Greed. Normally never played in EDH. However, 1 black, pay 2 life, draw a card. With Sheoldred out, it's just 1 black, draw a card. That is an insane rate that anybody would be happy to have on any card. The Phyrexian Arena here, draw a card, extra card each turn, Black Market Connection. You could draw a card, you lose 2 life, but Sheoldred, just draw a card. Then you do other stuff too. So Sheoldred helps buffer your life total upwards. Black Market Connection lets you cash it in. This is an insanely good card from the Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. And I did mention Teferi's Puzzle Box, which I have the Secret Lair version. It's kind of hard to read, but we'll bring it closer to camera. But we have the artifacts that draw cards. Sensei's Divine Top is actually really good with card drawing, because what you could do is draw your card, pop, tap Sensei's Divine Top, put it back on top, and then it draws another card for it. This is now back on top. Next turn you draw Sensei's Divine Top or with a card draw spell. You play for 1 mana, put it back on top, draw another card. So it just doubles your card draw velocity. It actually works really well with Bolas the Citadel. We'll get that in a bit. Temple Bell, tap, each player draws a card. Howling Mine and Font of Mythos. Howling Mine, each upkeep, everybody gets to draw an extra card. So, I feel like I'm giving presents away to my opponents. Giving them cards, right? That's what everybody loves to do. Give them cards. It's just drain a little bit while I'm doing it. Here, at the beginning of each player's draw step, the player draws an additional 2 cards. So with these 2, everybody's drawing 4 cards, taking 8 life. No problem. Teferi's Puzzle Box. This is one of the meanest cards in Sheoldred here. Or in Leovold Hullbreacher. But, Hullbreacher's banned, Leovold's banned. Cost 4. It's an artifact. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player puts the cards in their hands. I hope you can see this. Put the cards in their hands on the bottom of the library and anywhere, then draw that many cards. So essentially just wheels them every turn. And if they, they have 20 cards, you get wheeled, take 4 damage. Sweet. Alhammar's Archive actually works incredibly well with this commander. I can't believe this card is built just for this commander. If you gain life, gain twice as much life. That's sweet. If you draw a card, except the first one you draw each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. Wow. So not only are you doubling life gain, you're doubling the card draw. So essentially quadrupling the life gain. Because if you draw 1 card instead, you'll draw 2 cards. And normally you would gain 4 life. But then you double the life gain, so you get 8 life. So when you draw 1 card, you get 2 cards and 8 life in return. Super good with Sheoldred. We have Bolas the Citadel. This is not exactly a card drawing spell, but it's a card advantage spell, and I put it here to kind of bridge the gap to the next section. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play the top card of your library, even lands too. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana cost rather than pay its mana cost. Sheoldred helps really well. And then also you could tap, sack 10 non-land permanents, drain everybody, not drain, but just deal 10 damage to everybody. That little extra final blow. And here's some drain cards here. We are doing the slow drain with Sheoldred, so obviously we want to help Sheoldred along with other kinds of drain. We have Veto the Dusk Rose. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Then it can grant things lifelink. Of note, I didn't include the Sanguine Bond Exquisite Blood combo because I've won with that combo many times. It's an easy combo to pull off with Sheoldred. It's in mono black. You're welcome to do that. That's the infinite damage, infinite life combo. It's perfectly fine, but I decided to stay away from it. I really want to stick with the card draw and the slow drain. Just thematic reasons. But I wouldn't fault you for having those. Then we have other cards that do draining. Dread Presence here, and this does double duty because when I swamp ETBs, and we're playing tons of swamps here, choose 1, draw a card, you lose a life, so on theme, and deals 2 damage to any target, you gain 2 life. Now, any target, you can do damage to a mana dork or wherever. So, Dread Presence is your friend. Fate Unraveler, which is an enchantment creature hag. It's pretty neat. When our opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to that player. So now you deal 3 damage per card. And then we're going to switch right here to Underworld Dreams. Same text. Opponent draws a card, deal 1 damage to that player. So now they take 4 if you have this, and Sheoldred. We have Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Gary, devotion. You drain for Devotion of X. Insane in a mono black deck. It should just be in every mono black deck because it's just the best mono black card there is out there. Psychosis Crawler. I should have mentioned this before Gary, but whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses a life. So it's when you draw a card, it changes a little bit. And then Power Toughness equal to cards in your hand. Then we have Massacre Worm. The bottom part is when a creature your opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life, so draining. And also -2/-2 creature, so really good against token decks if you get the worm out. Then we have our big boy board wipe Meat Hook Massacre, which is I think another black staple that has happened recently from Midnight Hunt. When ETBs, each creature gets -X until end of turn. When a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. When a creature your opponent controls dies, you gain 1 life. So it's a super good board wipe. It sits there to do some more draining. That's what we're all about. That's very black, right? Gain and drain. I'm not going to lie. With Sheoldred out, people just want to draw cards without any penalties for drawing cards. She would be a target, so we have a little bit of protection, just a little bit of protection, not a lot, to try to keep Sheoldred or other fun things alive like Villas. Lightning Grease, Swift of Boots. They have Malakir Rebirth, which is a land protection spell. Then Feign Death, and I think Feign Death is one becoming a staple in a lot of my decks here. Until end of turn, target creature gains. Whenever this creature dies, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter. So essentially, somebody tries to kill something, not exile, but kill. You can just Feign Death. Feign Death, like Feign Death, Sheoldred. Sheoldred come back tap. So it's a good way to protect your board. Removal spell. Remember, we are straying through a deck with high velocity with Sheoldred and our card draw spells, so we don't. It doesn't seem like we have a high density of a lot of things, but we are drawing a lot of cards, so that helps us get to the things we need. Of most importance, Feed the Swarm. 1 in black, destroy target creature or enchantment, and opponent's control. You lose life equal to mana value. This is the most important thing because this is the only card that destroys enchantments and destroy targeted enchantment in this deck. They've given black, a way to destroy enchantments with targets. So just in case there's a problematic enchantment, this is something to deal with it. Again, we are playing mono black. That's one of the concessions we're making. Artifacts we just can't do anything about. We have to negotiate with other players, but that's part of the game. That's the fun, the social aspect. You have Defile, which is kind of almost like a Swords of Plowshares. Instant, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. For a grass, destroy target creature, you lose 2 life. The life loss is mitigated by Sheoldred. Baleful Mastery is a very interesting card here. You can either play 3 in a black, exile target creature or planeswalker, or 1 in a black. If you do, play 1 in a black, and opponent draws a card, so they can make him take damage when they draw cards. Snuff Out lets you pay 4 life to destroy a non-black creature. So again, we're using life as a resource because we're getting a lot from our drain cards and Sheoldred. 2 board wipes next to our Meat Hook Massacre, Toxic Deluge, Damnation. Sometimes we gotta clear the board. Unfortunately, it'll clear Sheoldred unless we do Feign Death or Malekith Rebirth, but it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Some of the utility cards we have here, we have Ophiomancer, Opposition Agent, Dauthi, Voidwalker for Graveyard Hate. This is Search Hate. Sheoldred, as we mentioned, this is creature hate and can reanimate some creatures. Some tutors, Demonic Tutor, Expedition Map, more Graveyard Hate, Soul Guide Lantern, and Defiler of Flesh, which is a new card. Sorry, it went a little fast, but I hope people have seen these cards in my deck text before. Sheoldred has been around forever. Ophiomancer, I haven't done a deck tech on it, but I've always wanted to play it. So again, sometimes I just want to include cards that I haven't played just for fun. I recommend you do that too, just to test them out. Ophiomancer is cool because it just generates snakes all the time. With Death Touch, that's the important part. Death Touch, protect yourself. Now back to Defiler of Flesh, Menace. 2 black, Phyrexian Horror. As an additional cost to cast black permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Those spells cost a black less to cast if you pay 2 life this way. This effect reduces only the amount of black mana you pay, so it turns a single black into a Phyrexian mana, only for permanents. I know I have a bunch of spells, but sometimes it will make a Sheoldred 2 black and a Phyrexian black with Defiler of Flesh. And then when you cast a black spell, target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains menace until end of turn. I don't know why the green one gets permanent +1/+1 counters, but this one only has temporarily abilities, but does menace. It could come up. You could kill somebody with Sheoldred with menace. That could come up, but mainly you just want to keep Sheoldred back because Sheoldred has Death Touch to protect your board. Can kill a big thing if necessary. But again, it's cool to try. I just want to try these cards out, and I believe they look really cool. And only time will tell if they're as good as I think they are. All right, the ramp packs. You know what? I just moved my studio and I forgot my labels. It's around the floors, but I got some back. Apologize for that. There's some labels. There you go. It's not too late, right? Maybe it is. Who knows? We have a ramp package. These are our non-land based ramp. We have Crypt Gas. Double the production, swamp production. Nurkana Revenant, double the swamp production. Of course, because we're drawing a lot of cards, we want to just use the most amount of mana. The person who uses the most amount of mana usually has a good time winning. Crick, Son of Yawgmoth. 4 and triple Phyrexian and turns black mana symbols into Phyrexian black, which is cool because you can use your extra life gain from Sheoldred to pay for the Phyrexian black. Then it's got lifelink too. Yeah, Burnished Heart, Solemn Simulacrum, good creature base ramp. This does double ramp, can get you 2 lands, which is pretty cool. Soul Wing, Wayfarer's Bauble, The single mana rocks aren't that plentiful, but you know, we have Thought Vessel just in case you have too many cards. But again, with decks like this, I don't mind discarding because I have so much cards and I'm drawing so many cards that I'll just never be able to just deploy them all. I think people have a hard time. They want to play Reliquary Tower, this one, and the new 3-mana one, so they never have to discard. But I don't see a problem going to 7 sometimes. But we do need a mana rock, and might as well have the benefit of not having to discard from Thought Vessel. Might as well let you draw cards, very synergistic. And then Jet Medallion, you know, makes black things cost less because, you know, we're playing mono black deck. Here we have a land package. Of course, you don't have to worry about dual lands. We're going to produce one color mana, which is great. We have these 2 cards are good utility cards. This one, you know, each player draws a card, discards a card, then each player draws a card. So right there, you deal some damage. Here is the best one because, you know, they're not up or down. They're not up or down cards. You just deal damage. It's just sweet. I guess it lets them filter a little bit, but it's still good. Urborg turns everything black. That's a combination with Cabal Coffers. Might as well put this over here like that to put more combo feel. We have Bajuga Ball for Graveyard Hate. Then we have our multi-mana makers right here. Nykthos, like Gary, Devotion to Black, can make tons of mana. Cabal Stronghold. Not as good as Cabal Coffers because you need the basic swamps. Cabal Coffers, Urborg, best friends, makes tons of mana. Myriad Landscape can get you more mana. Then we have our lands here. Essentially, Vesuva, Thespian Stage to copy our Cabal Coffers. More copies. You have Urza Saga to make constructs, find your Soul Ring, or find your Expedition map to make more copies of Cabal Coffers or Nykthos, depending on which one will make you more mana. But usually Cabal Coffers is more a safe bet. And then we have some lands. These are my favorite black lands, put in mono black deck. This is the Neon Dynasty land. I actually did not have enough black lands from Dominaria United, so I decided to use some my Neon Dynasty lands, which I just love to see. Anyways, that is the deck. I hope you enjoyed the deck tech. Here, we're going to do a little gold fishing, but before we do a little gold fishing, I want to remind you that the deck list is in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, give the video a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be alerted for new videos in the future because, you know, I always have new videos for all these new crazy commanders that come out. Again, I like to make videos on commanders I like to play. And I like to play against. Sheoldred, I think, is a really cool commander. It's not as bad as, you know, Turgrid. I mean, people might think it's like a really horrible commander to play against, but, you know, it's just like a slow drain. Sheoldred's easy to get rid of because, you know, it just dies to wherever you want to point at it. And you're only gain 2 life, so it's kind of like a slow drain, but it's just fun. It's a really fun deck to play. Hopefully your opponents also will enjoy playing against Sheoldred because, you know, you're giving them cards. Who wants more cards, right? Everybody wants more cards. Anyways, I'm going to shuffle this deck up, and then we'll be right back. All right, we are back. Turn 1. Let's see what kind of cool stuff we can do with our commander, Sheoldred. Now, remember, this is a commander that you can play, you know, try to play on turn 3, turn 4, or you can wait, build your defenses, then play later when you have good mana. Just depends on how it goes. All right. See, we got Expedition map. We have, you know, some lands, 3 lands, or that could be a 4th land. Ramp. It's not bad. Okay. Turn 1, we'll just play our Natural Swamp right there. Play Expedition map. That's great. That will get our Cabal Coffers when necessary. Turn 2. Oh, we've got the draw already. We're so excited. This is our turn 1 draw. A land. That always happens to me. Always remember to draw. Then turn 2, Night's Whisper, more card draw. We're not ready for that yet. Okay. What we are ready for is our second swamp. Right there. See what we could play. Howling Mine. We could play that. Play Night's Whisper. I think we want to crack our map, start our mana production real quick. Expedition map. Actually, we just take that back. We should play Urborg. Because if we're going to get Cabal Coffers, we should just always play our Urborg. That's a sweet starting hand. Usually you got to like get one and hope to get the other later. But, you know, I guess we got one. Then we got a tutor for the other one. We are playing Demonic Tutor, which can get Cabal Coffers, or Urza Saga, which gets mapped, which gets Cabal Coffers. The goal is to get a lot of Cabal Coffers. Cabal Coffers is a very good card in our deck. there. I think turn 4 is when it starts generating lots of mana. Okay, we got Cabal Coffers in our hand, just super sweet. There, turn 3. So we get more swamps. More swamps, not bad. We can just play Cabal Coffers as a swamp right there. We can start the madness with the Howling Mine. I think let's just start that. We should just play Thespian Stage turn 1, tell you the truth. If we did that right, we would have a Thespian Stage, an Urborg, and Cabal Coffers. Then we could copy our Cabal Coffers. Let's pretend we did that and not tell anybody. Okay. See, this is what happens with Goldfishing. You learn things, then you go back, and then you can remember. So we'll just copy our Thespian Stage into Cabal Coffers. We use Urborg to tap Cabal Coffers for black. There we go. Sometimes you gotta go back in time and figure out your mistakes, and that's why we Goldfish. And then go turn 4. So now I have double Cabal Coffers, which is super good. Urborg. Draw a card. More swamps, no problem. Okay. So we pay 2, and we add 4 mana. So let's get our dice. Turn mana pool here. We use 2 of that mana. Tap this other Cabal Coffers. Add 4 mana, so we have 6 mana total. So we could even ramp right here with our Solemn Simulacrum. Have 2 mana, we'll get the land, and then we'll do play Howling Mine. Give people cards, start the money train. Okay, so we play our Solemn here. We'll find our first swamp, which have tons of them here. Helps our Cabal Coffers. Right there. Then we'll pass. Everybody's very happy because they draw tons of cards. Howling Mine makes people happy, Every time my opponent plays Howling Mine, I'm just like, sure, I love it. Now with Sheoldred, it might make them less happy because they're taking 4 damage per round, but not that bad. Okay. All right. So next turn here, turn 5. Now that we figure out how to sequence our lands, a little takes backsies 3 turns later, right? Draw a card. Oh, finally now a swamp. All right, but we don't mind putting down swamps here. Okay, put down a swamp. We will. Again, we'll tap our Cabal Coffers for, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll just tap our Cabal Coffers for 6. We'll get our dice, handy dandy dice here. We have 6 here. We'll save these other 2 for this Cabal Coffers copy. 6. First thing we want to do is play Sheoldred. Right there. Get our Sheoldred into play. We have 2 left. We forgot to draw our second card for Howling Mine. I always forget that. Defiler of Flesh, we could just play that first. All right, let's just rewind. You know how I love how to rewind. This is the fun part about Goldfishing. You find your mistakes, you could rewind a little bit. Here, we tap this for 6. We could play Defiler of Flesh, and then have 2 left. Here, we could do our second Cabal Coffers for 6. Here, people will think I'm really dangerous having 2 Cabal Coffers, and I admit we are really dangerous having 2 Cabal Coffers. 6 here. We could play Sheoldred for the Phyrexian mana, so we just use 3 of our mana. Here we have 8, so now we have 5 left over. 3 of our mana. We could play Psychosis Crawler here, but you know what? Let's just see if we can get something cool. Or we can play these 2 cards, so I'd rather just play... this one gets a discount from the Defiler. You can give a permanent menace, but nothing can attack, so it doesn't really matter. So let's just... play 2, Night's Whisper, right? We'll draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. We'll gain 4 life from Sheoldred, so net gain of 2 life. We got Elder Brain. We got tons of mana next turn to do something with that. We'll do that. We'll just use the last 3. Couldn't use it anywhere else. And play Opheliumancer. We won't use a Phyrexian mana cost because, we just use our mana. Okay. Say we make a Death Touching Snake here. Now we're definitely ready for turn 6. Turn 6, we go here. Our opponents have lost life. Don't forget Sheoldred's trigger, or remind your opponents about Sheoldred's triggers. Losing life, we have a good blocker in the Snake. We get Chump Block with Solemn Simulacrum. Gain life from drawing the card. We draw 2 cards, so we gain 4 life. Massacre Worm, Myriad Landscape. That's sweet. So here's the thing. We could calculate out. We could play Myriad Landscape, counts as a swamp. That'll give us 14 mana, which is incredible, right? I calculated you can't cast all these even with playing the swamp with the Defiler. So we'll play our Myriad Landscape into play tapped. It does count as a swamp. We will tap this for 14 mana. Here, the double Cabal Coffers, 14. We'll use 7 and then 6. So we'll have 1 mana floating. That goes nowhere. Masker Worm things. Elder Brain, pretty insane right there. They just draw, let's say somebody has 6 cards. We could, when it attacks, I would exile all the cards from a player's hand, then they draw that many cards. Say somebody has 6 cards, that's 12 damage with Sheoldred. Masker Worm now is draining them right there. So things are going on. You have Howling Mine drawing tons of cards. So this is a good board state. And I've noticed a trend in Commander, people don't play a lot of board wipes, so maybe we're lucky. They do play targeted removal. Maybe Sheoldred gets destroyed, right? Say hypothetically Sheoldred gets back in the command zone, been cast 1 time. That's fine, right? You just pass, go back to your turn. Here, you draw, turn 7, draw 2 cards, Alhammar's Archive and a swamp. You play a swamp, it's land for turn. What you'll do is you just pay 2 because you'll get a refund back from your double Cabal Coffers. Myriad Landscape, we'll just sack it. We'll get 2 lands right here, perfect. Get 2 lands. Shuffle this bad boy back up. I'll shuffle here. Boom. Then we have our Orbor, our Cabal Coffers, making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gosh, Cabal Coffers, man, it's insane. Cabal Coffers, insane. If they ever make one for a different color, that'd just be ridiculous. 9 mana. You can just, 9, and then you just take 1 of that mana down to 8. Pump in the Cabal Coffers, go back up to 9 again. So you have 6 plus 3, 9. 12, so you have 17 mana. Right there, you can play Sheoldred again for 6. Boom. Then you have 2 5s. You just play these. Bam. I mean, you have tons of swamps in your hand. I don't know what that card draw is, but right here, you double card draw with Alhammar's Archive, gain double life. You can, now you have Sheoldred, now you can attack with Elder Brain, play a bunch of stuff. You could just, tap 1 Cabal Coffers, play Sheoldred first, attack, do the damage, then see what's going on, then you cast their spells with, all your little ramp spells. So next turn, I'll just take a hypothetical next turn, turn 8, because it's super fun, with this deck. And with definitely with 2 Cabal Coffers, it's super, super fun. Draw a card, draw 2 cards, stays in, that's super sweet, and then you would draw another card because of the Howling Mine, Alhammar's Archive, boom, and you play your land. Each Cabal Coffers taps for, 1, 2, 3, 10 mana, so you have, this would be 10, 20, 24 mana. You can even play Mindstone, crack Mindstone, draw 2 cards, play Balls of Citadel, reveal that card. Here you pay nothing just to get it in your graveyard because you can't pay with mana. Fate Unraveler, bam, Swamp, you played your land, so that's the end of that game. Play Sizen right here, play attack with Elder Rain, get some more stuff. Psychosis Crawler is dealing damage every time I draw a card. So you're doing a lot of cool things with Sheoldred. That's why it makes this deck super fun. I think it's important. I mean, it's important to have this card. I think this is the most important card for the Sheoldred deck there. I know we flooded out a lot towards the end. A lot, see, as you notice, but we're still doing good things. It's still fun. It's one of the most important cards in any mono black deck, I believe, or a lot of decks, like a black X deck, Cabal Coffers. So, anyways, if you enjoyed this deck tech, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, smash subscribe, and hit notification bell to be alerted in the future. Add some comments below. Tell me how much you love Sheoldred. Sheoldred's over here now in the command zone. How much you love Sheoldred, how much you want to play Sheoldred. And also I have the deck list in the description below. Check it out. And I hope you have a wonderful day.